Yo people, welcome back to another video. I hope everyone has been doing good. So I don't know how long this video is going to be. Ideally it's a quick one, but I'm going to be talking about the sequels, which is always a problem. So I watched Top Gun Maverick pretty recently and I left the cinema happy because the film was actually pretty good. It had a good storyline, it had the good acting, just everything was good. It's been a while since I've seen a film of that level. However, the first thing I thought about when I left the cinema was, why couldn't the Star Wars sequels execute something like this? The film wasn't anything crazy, it wasn't like, oh my god, this is the best film ever, but it did the fundamentals of a sequel correctly, and I'll be talking about those fundamentals shortly. All in all, if I'm being completely honest, Top Gun isn't my type of film, but I can see immediately why it's currently on 1.3 billion and why it sits at number 16 for highest grossing films ever. I can only say positive things about the film, but most importantly, it executed the fundamentals of a sequel well, which is where Star Wars failed. I feel like if the sequels had executed the fundamentals, the storyline would have at least been respected, even if it was trash. Just for doing these key things that I'm going to mention, the films would have been respected minimum. I also believe that the Obi-Wan Kenobi show and Marvel, ever since the end of Phase 3, is very responsible for not sticking to these key things. So it's not just Star Wars, it's not just the sequels. I feel like the entertainment business in general, Marvel and other franchises, I believe Rings of Power will do the same. Hopefully Top Gun starts making everyone realize that we need entertainment again and we need to do the following things. Because these companies need to stop catering and trying to please everyone on social media and just focus on entertainment and good storylines. I'll start off with the most important fundamental, and it is so simple that it's stupid that I should even be saying this. But unfortunately, this is where we are at with the entertainment business in 2022. So the first one is Top Gun Maverick doesn't make the protagonist, who's a white male, an idiot. It doesn't change any of his beliefs. It doesn't change anything about the character that wouldn't make sense. Even though there has been a 30-year time jump, he's still the same guy, just a bit more matured. They don't attack him, they don't try to humiliate him, they don't try to ruin him, they don't do anything bad to the protagonist that crushes his image and there's no turning back. They don't add any politics, which can be used against him to make him evil for just being born the way that he is. He does take L's, but they're casual L's that any character should take in films anyways. It doesn't define the character. He gets over the L's, which is ultimately what every protagonist should do in the end. And it's pretty simple. Now, let's move over to the Star Wars sequels, and in particular Luke Skywalker. This character goes through a same time jump, same as Maverick. However, this character gets completely changed. There's not an ounce of the actual Luke Skywalker in this character. He's literally the complete opposite. He went from one of the most optimistic people in the galaxy. He literally brought his father back from the dark side. Even when Obi-Wan and Yoda thought it was impossible. We enter the sequels and this guy is a bum. He's basically homeless, he's living on stones, he's a loser. Now, I don't have a problem with this as I've described it. However, with something this drastic, to see the complete opposite of this character, there has to be a huge reason for this to have happened. It should be something that ultimately, whatever caused him to act like this, it was a huge consequence that can't be overturned. But no, he ultimately gets insecure because he senses the darkness in his nephew and then whips out his lightsaber and tries to kill him. That just doesn't even make sense, especially from the character who is known for saying, "I'm not afraid." So you're telling me Luke Skywalker strands himself on an island because of that? Because his Jedi temple got burnt down, as if he's still not one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. He also gets given his old lightsaber and throws it down the cliff. He loses to Rey in a battle. He refuses to train Rey. He's done. He can't be asked. He basically just goes against everything that Yoda installed in him. And why did Force Ghost Obi-Wan and Anakin not even appear to try and help him in any way, shape or form? Do you see why the video is going to be a bit longer? Because this just leads into just a rabbit hole of problems. But yeah, ultimately, the death of Luke as well, garbage. He uses too much Force powers and dies. They just disrespected this guy from the second he arrived on the screen. So this is why Maverick and Top Gun just deserve a huge round of applause. Because they didn't bury their old character for the new characters. Which now leads me on to my next point. The integration of new characters with the already existing characters. This is just super crucial, and if this doesn't go well, then the whole film might as well just go in the bin. Top Gun Maverick has a new generation of pilots which Maverick has to teach, and the group of pilots is a lot more inclusive and fitting of the present day, which is good. Because in the first one, it was like 95% white males, which was representing of the times, I guess. And now they've carried on that same consistency, that same energy, and they've made it a lot more inclusive. We have black pilots, we have female pilots, we even have Hispanic pilots. But do you know why it's good? Because it doesn't shove the inclusiveness in your face. It doesn't make those characters arrogant. They don't self-victimize themselves. Not once do they have to mention that they're female and they've been treated unfairly by the system, or that they're black and they've been treated unfairly through the same system. And the most important part is that every new pilot acts different, despite already looking different. You get a sense of group connection, all these different personalities merging together. You can start to pick a favorite character because of how they act, not because they represent you and your people. If I had to choose a favorite character from the new pilots, it would probably have to be Rooster or Bob. If I had to pick the one that visually represents me and makes me feel included, it would have to be the Hispanic, which is Fanboy. I honestly didn't even connect to this character, mostly because he didn't have a big amount of screen time, but the entertainment business will have you think that I should pick Fanboy because he's Hispanic. Each pilot had a different personality trait. You have the angry one, the arrogant one, the antagonist, the smart one, etc. And that's what impacts the audience more and gets them to like the characters even more. It's not every day, oh yes, this character looks like me, so that's my favorite character. If you do that, you need to go in the bin, and you're a top tier narcissist if you do that. Because why should something be your favorite because it looks like you? Isn't the storytelling of a character even greater when your favorite character isn't the one that looks like you? Let me give you an example. Ahsoka, she's my second favorite character in the whole of Star Wars. Only loses to Anakin. Am I a female? No. Am I an alien? No. So visually I can't connect to her, but she's still the second best. Her character traits, her personality is what makes me connect. So if I use the same logic that all these entertainment companies want me to have, then Cassian Andor would be my favorite character in the whole of Star Wars because he looks the most like me. That is just the dumbest way of thinking. So back to this, apart from all of them being unique in their own way of being, another important thing is that none of these characters overshadow or outdo the protagonist, who is Maverick. And they still have their moments to shine. They all shine in their own different ways without ruining the protagonist, without ruining his story, making him look stupid. None of that. They've done it exactly how it should be. Now, I want to bring it back to integration. I know I went on that massive rant. So integration of new characters, old characters. We'll go to the sequels, Rey, Finn, Poe, Rose. They start well. They make Rey, Finn, Poe meet Han Solo. But that's all it is. They meet, they talk, and that's it. They don't share anything. There's nothing really there for them to do. It's just a casual conversation and then Han Solo dies. Luke, Leia, and Han didn't even get their own reunion. The one last reunion. They didn't even get that. So that kind of shows you how much they respect the original trilogy and how much they care about these kind of things. The only character that actually meets the originals is Rey. She meets Luke, Leia, Han. She's the only character to do this. I don't know if they thought that she counts as everyone, but it just doesn't count. The whole group has to meet them. The whole group, they're the ones that are carrying the new generation now. But only Rey does it. Now, if you want to say, oh, but it's not all about the original trilogy, everyone needs to have their own story, blah, 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 this is a new era, blah, blah, blah. Cool. After 7, they just all do their own thing. Like, Rey just becomes the main focus, and the rest of the characters just wander around, waste time. They don't do anything. Poe meets Leia, but that just goes downhill. Finn gets put with Rose. Number 8 really is the worst of the worst. That just ruined everything. Separating the new characters is a criminal act. Then we get Rey meeting Luke, new and old. It just feels forced. There's no chemistry. And then, of course, they have their own duel. Rey wins it, of course. Rey is just the protagonist. She's just the one that gets everything her way. Now, the third fundamental for me is the suspense, the predictability of the outcome of these characters. I'm going to enter spoiler mode for Top Gun Maverick in case anyone still hasn't watched it. I'm going to say spoilers, so if you need to, click off. So, ultimately, we know that Maverick and Rooster should survive because they got the plot armor, right? But you still fear for them. They even try to imply that maybe Maverick isn't going to make it back. Just before he takes off, they start building suspense. And there's that moment where his plane gets blown up and you think that's the end. And Rooster and Maverick, despite having known each other for a short amount of time, they've had altercation, they've had a lot of character growth because they've been with each other, they've gone through the hard times, they've had fights, etc. But then they start to show the teamwork. And then they try and flip it so that you think Rooster dies, and he doesn't. But they keep it very up in the air. Obviously, they both survive, which is kind of, I don't know, I feel like one of them should have died. But even the way they got saved by Hangman, they kept the predictability fogged. Like, you just couldn't tell what would happen. However, now we move to the sequels. Anything that Rey does, you just know she's going to win, she's going to succeed because she's amazing. She knows how to fly planes. She knows how to use the Force after a couple lessons. She knows how to fight Kylo Ren after never picking up a lightsaber. So you never really feel like she's in any danger. And it just kills the whole movie as well. So with all these fundamentals going wrong, you can't really take the film seriously. It's not a film that has stakes or makes you feel in love with the new characters. It doesn't connect to the originals or the prequels. So it just feels like a what if. That's what I always tell myself. The sequels are just a what if. And I don't really count the sequels in my personal opinion. It's not really a thing for me. And yeah, I just feel like Top Gun Maverick exceeded with these 3 fundamentals. And yeah, that concludes that. Shout out to everyone that's made it this far. I appreciate you guys. Let me know what you guys think about my arguments. Are there more things that could be done? Or maybe I'm wrong with some stuff? Let me know. Appreciate the feedback. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Hope everyone keeps having a great day or great night, obviously, depending on where you're at. And I'll catch you in the next video.